Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zook Community Live broadcast of the DBR Heino Cup, race number 6 in the league. Race is about to get going out on the course. It looks like we've got a extremely strong women's field as well as men's field in the A category race. Now, just as a heads up, we do have 2 different broadcasts happening today. One of them will be happening here, obviously, on Zook Community Live, as we are live now. And then there will also be a test race, points race actually happening in just a little while, a beta test over on Zwift's own broadcasting space, Zwift Live. Make sure to check that out shortly after this broadcast. That'll be at 2:25 p.m. Central Standard Time. What is that? I believe 7:25 p.m. or 8:25 p.m. GMT. I believe that is. I have with me again Alex Rasmussen. Alex, thanks for joining in to the broadcast today. It's good to have a multi-time world champion in the broadcast. And you were talking a little bit about the heavy hitters in the Heino Cup today. Who's here with the it sounded like Canyon as well as the Heino team with the women's side of things?
Yeah, it looks like a really strong lineup for the women's side of things. Like 4 girls from Canyon with Natalie Eklund, the Swedish champion, Buchholz, German champion, against some of the strong Heino girls like Louisa Haubach, who's obviously the Danish champion, Cecilia Hansen from Heino as well. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see those 2 strong teams up against each other today.
Yeah, I'm seeing the Swedish national championship kit in there, actually. Hubach's in there as well. The Danish national champion, as you were saying. We're seeing Natalie Eklund there from the Canyon team. Lots of Canyon kits, it looks like, showing up on the day. So Heino versus Canyon might be the story that we have out here today for this race. For the men's side of things, the A category, it's about to get kicking off here in just a moment. It looks like 31 seconds to the start of that race. It is going to be 2 laps out on the UCI Richmond's course. Talk a little bit about this course. I mean, up front, it's going to be pretty flat. You know, the reality is it's going to be fast and furious, but we've got the 3 climbs.
We got obviously Libby Hill and 23rd Street, and then we got the final climb up towards the finish line. And as most people probably remember, Peter Sagan, he went on actually 23rd Street right after the couple climb on Libby Hill. So I think that's going to be where we're going to look out for some attacks from especially Canyon. I would assume they're going to try to mix it up over Libby Hill and then hit it again on 23rd Street.
Yeah, definitely have to agree there. I think Libby Hill is the place to be watching out for. We do see Debski here taking over toward the front in the Meds race immediately here. Alex West is here. Looks like good to see Alex jumping into the race, obviously coming from Canyon. Ollie Jones is out there. I saw a lot of verified badges, actually. T. Fitzpatrick is out here. It looks like Keelam here for hire. It says he's riding for the For Hire team out of Canada. Not exactly sure which new team that is. It looks like we've got a verified badge out on course that's looking for a team, for all the teams that are out there looking for somebody to jump into one of the high-end esports teams. On the front, though, as usual, we have some early attacks here. It does look like it is going to be, taking a look toward the front here, not Bergen. It's going to be Art Palmer here. Now, hammering off the front right now. Now, he's got no heart rate on, though, so they may not chase him down simply because of the lack of the heart rate here. We'll have to wait and see if perhaps this calms down. It does calm down immediately, maybe just getting a little bit of camera time. Herwig now coming out of Germany, taking over toward the front of the bikes and beers kit. Thorson's there as well. T. Fitzpatrick here, 4.4 watts per kilo, 159 beats per minute currently here. So, but as we said, it's most likely going to be fairly calm after the initial crazy starts that we do see a lot of times. Toward the back here, David PLCC, as well as it looks like Evoke here now showing up. You know, this is a extremely strong field here. You know, I think the Heino Cup has been kind of on the radar it looks like, for all these top teams out here. I am saying James Phillips as well, another national champion kit now, UK national champion here. So I don't know, if we're going to go pre-fireworks favorites, anything on your mind here as far as who might be a favorite out here to be watching out for with the 3 punchy climbs in there?
I'm gonna go for my guy Alex West again. I think he's gonna be there at the end. Obviously, I think there's a lot of new strong guys coming here. It's growing every leg, every stage of the Heino Cup. It just keeps growing because the Canyon is there and Team Fusion is there, and always the Danish bike riders are there every time. So it just seems to add to the level of competition. So it's going to get stronger and stronger towards the last 4 stages of the Heino Cup.
I'd have to agree with you, though. Watching out for the Canyon team always. I think that there are going to be a couple of newer additions, though, to this racing here. There's some names out here that I'm not exactly extremely familiar with, but this is something we were talking about the other day in one of the broadcasts that we had, where it was like, I was actually asked by another commentator as well that is looking to come into the world of Zwift racing and commentating. Dave Towley, very well known amongst the U.S. soil and as a commentator in the world of cycling, both in real life and now starting to maybe come into a little bit more Zwift stuff. And he's like, Nathan, do you know all of the heavy hitters at the front end? Do you know them almost personally? Do you know their backgrounds? What kind of races? And I said, the reality is that there's such a huge influx of racers that, yes, Brett Boniface, I see that name. Hodge is here. I'm seeing Wally here. I'm seeing Falk. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names. All the Canyon boys, all of the Callis boys. Kalen is out here, as you can see. But at the same time, the huge influx of racers at this point. I mean, we're talking in the Zwiftcast about record numbers. My guess was, I think, up in the 22,000s or so for record numbers out on Zwift at the highest peak, sometime in January. And with that huge influx, we're going to have a lot more to pull from as far as the pool of elite racers. And so, yeah, we got some of the favorites out here, but I have a feeling that there might be some new dark horses, some wild cards that are going to start showing themselves on the podium a lot more in Zwift racing.
That's what I love about Zwift, that there's always going to come new additions to Zwift and to the high-end racing. Obviously, the guys we know, they're going to be up there, but as it grows, especially here in mainland Europe and northern Scandinavia, it's going to grow a lot in January and February, and you're just going to see more people that can push these extreme high wattage, like some of the Pro Tour numbers that we were talking about on the last stream. There's just going to be more and more, and also I think it could be potentially a good platform to recruit some young riders into some of the development teams.
Yeah, definitely. Now, we do have a lot of pavement here, as you can hear in the noise there coming from Zwift. Somebody turned up the pavement today. Yeah. We'll bring that down for everybody there, so everybody can hear exactly what we're saying. As it sounds like the wheels are rolling through here for the ladies now. But as we jump back into the ladies' race, it looks like 13th place now currently coming from Bradbury. Be watching out for Rosemond. She's going to be a threat, I think, out there today if she can hang on through the climbs. We saw in the Zwift Academy Finals race on Sunday, which Samara Shepard broke away to win amongst the finalists. There was another rider that was along with her that won the race outright for the Rowan King team. But Rosemond Bradbury, we were talking about her in the Zwift Academy Finals race on Sunday, that she was a sprinter. And be watching out for her in the final Ks as she was able to take down that UK national champion. Actually, what's interesting is both of the UK national champions are in this race on the men's and the women's side, actually. Bradbury, though, maybe going to be put under a little bit of pressure here. The climbs are not quite as long, though, as we see out on the Yorkshire course, actually, for the UCI 2019 course. So she may have a little bit more of advantage with it being just a little punchier and not quite as long of a climb to hang on, as that was where they broke her on Sunday. Being a very strong sprinter and a punchy rider, she may have a little bit more of a chance, as you were saying, to make a move up and over the top of Governor Street and sprint through the finish line there, Alex.
Yeah, but she has to be extremely careful on 23rd Street because it's so steep, and we see it. We're going to see it on the first lap as well. We're going to see splits there, but definitely on the last and final lap, we're going to see some attacks there, and it's just about being vigilant and staying in the front of the peloton so you don't get caught out.
Yeah, I think some fade climbing actually may be there for the sprinters. If you're unfamiliar with the idea of fade climbing, everybody, is this situation where you set yourself up toward the front of the pack before you hit the actual climb. If the climb isn't too long, you can burst at the front, hold on to your position, slowly fade yourself back to the back of the pack, or even to the back of whoever makes the splits. Hold on to the wheels and make your way through onto a wheel and not have to work quite as hard as some of the other riders that might be attacking up and over the top. So if that does work out.
That's what we call the elevator in the pro peloton. Obviously, we have like a bunch of 200 riders, so it's a lot easier if you come into a climb in top 10 position. You can really like fade down through the pack and still go over the front and then way towards the front again.
The elevator, I absolutely love it. Definitely can hang out on the elevator. Such a great way to put it. If you are able to position yourself well, even out on Zwift, so something that's similar in real life to Zwift racing. I do see some comments coming on through here. Khaled over on Twitch, this is a great question because we were talking about this right before the race. We'll jump back into some of the racing in just a moment. It's a fairly calm section, so we'll go through some of your comments. You can bring your comments on in. Go ahead and tweet at Z Community Live. If you want to bring in any media, that's the best way to do that. Otherwise, you can also bring a comment in through Facebook, Twitch, or the YouTube feed. So this question is great because today, over on Zwift Live, it's a Zwift-owned production, a Zwift-owned race. There is a Zwift beta race that's going to be doing a points race, actually. There was invitation only, I believe, but Khaled, we will be streaming that over on Zwift Live today. That will be in about 1 hour and 10 minutes from now, so it'll be about a 20-minute break between these races. Make sure to go ahead and check that out. It is like the Test Labs, but Zwift beta racing. So good to see some of the other comments coming on through here. When are new races also coming on through from Iniesta? Obviously, we got the one that I just spoke about. Then we also do have the Lamb Chop tomorrow, and I believe we're going to be having some new races on Tuesdays coming up pretty soon as well. Keep on waiting for those races to be announced. I do see lots of cheering for Team Fearless going on. Good to see Team Fearless hanging out in the broadcast as well. Let's go ahead and take a look through. Excited for the new formats. Good to see you, Carissa. Thanks for hanging out, one of our moderators. And just calm down, though. We'll get to it. Right, Chris? It's just a little bit of inside jokes there for everybody. Carissa always needing to calm down. Back in with the men, though. We are going to be heading downhill here in just a moment. It's pretty calm, though, up to this point. Makes sense, as there is not too much to work with as far as ups and downs. And with such a strong field, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, from your experience in the Pro Peloton, if you're going to try and make a break this early on, Alex, you've got to have something really well set up. And the kind of crazy watts per kilogram you have to put out over and over again. It's always like the third or fourth or fifth attack that actually sticks on a flatter section like this, I would think.
Yeah, it is pretty much impossible because you look at the speed, how high it is, 30 miles per hour here on the flat section, and it's gonna get brought back unless you have like a big team and a strong team, and you can try to stretch it out and then just keep going. But if you try to go solo from here, I would probably call that a suicide mission.
And it looks like we do have one rider toward the front here trying to do a little bit of a suicide mission, or at least put everybody else into a little bit of a hurt locker here. It's going to be, I believe it is the Palmer rider that we were talking about earlier. We'll see if he can continue on at the pace he's kicking. Now we do have a kick off the front, though. One rider, it looks like, from DBR, actually. Interesting to see.
That's Klaus Möller. That's actually one of my good friends, and he's streaming quite often on DBR Live. So he's just trying to get some TV time, I'm sure. And he's bringing Evola with him. So it's good to see that a couple of guys could go off the front here before the hill and maybe get a little advantage so he can get over Libby and 23rd Street.
38 miles per hour currently coming from this rider. 41, though, coming from the pack as they continue forward here with the rolling snowball speed. Evoli will be caught out here. Moeller as well, as they give a little bit of a boost to the main pack here. The DBR rider, look how fast he goes backwards into the pack here. Up and out of the saddle now, as you can see, as they hit the flatter section here. Soren Bay making his way toward the front there on the left, as it is going to be Larson also from DBR DBR in the middle of the pack, sitting in pretty well. 7th place or so here for Bertelsen. Lots of Danish flags here. Look at all of that. Was for a moment there, you saw nothing but Danish flags up and down the entire friends list there for a second. Kolb's here now from Heino, it looks like, on the right-hand side. You can see that Heino Cup extremely popular here with the riders in Denmark.
It's extremely popular here in Denmark. It's really growing, but it's also popular internationally, which is what we really like to see. So we get some competition from some of the best guys from all over the world, like with Kirchmeier and obviously Team Canyon. But the Danish riders, it just keeps growing. Like, I obviously know a lot of these guys. One of them is my former teammate. One of the other guys, Rasmus Mejdal, is from the club that has the velodrome, and then Klaus Møller, who did the attack before, is the streamer from Danish Bike Riders. So obviously I know a lot of these guys personally, but I still think some of the favorites are Team Canyon and obviously Kirchmeier.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that 100%. Now, this is a rider, though, riding for Team Vegan, it says here. Tom Fitzpatrick here, 86 races in. Team Sportslife Road Race League here took a win back on December 10th, it looks like, as well as a win on the 3-hour Lutzer CCW. It's just a one-lapper of that, but we saw him hammering away at about 4.6 watts per kilogram or so. Seems to be an extremely strong rider here. I'm going to take a quick look here and see if we can get some more information on the rider, but I'll be watching out for Fitzpatrick perhaps, as it seems like he has some results not only in real life but also out on Zwift here. And these are those dark horses that we were talking about, the more of a wild card racers that we have not maybe seen too much from. Riding for RTS Racing Team, it looks like, in real life here, out of the United Kingdom, actually. So solid racer, it looks like here, coming into the winter times for his geographic location. We're about to head into Libby Hill in just a moment here. This is where the real fireworks are going to be taken off now, as Lopez takes over toward the front. Now Bertelsen, Thorsen's there as well. Back in with the ladies real quick here before we head up Libby Hill. We'll take a look and see how things are developing with them. And it does look like pretty quiet as well. Over here is about to head downhill. Vicky Neelan, BRT there, ZHR's there as well. Toward the front with Light, it looks like Bradbury still keeping everything under wraps now. It looks like Fox here from the Wahoo Esports team. Eklund as well from Canyon. Still all together though, and as I can see, it is going to be 39 seconds back for Slavin here for Team Fearless. So it does look like one of the Team Fearless riders here outside of the top 21 now. Going to be in a solo TT for quite a while. Daniela from Revo here. This is one of those riders we've seen challenge toward the front. Looks like she's being smart and sitting on the back here. Getting into that aero tuck, 135 beats per minute. That's a very low heart rate, actually, Alex. I mean, the reality is here, I think a lot of these ladies are just waiting for the climbs.
Definitely. They're all just waiting for the climb now and just want to get over with the Danish champion and the Swedish champion. We saw Daniela. She was she did the right thing with Eklund in the sprint. Was it last week when she was sitting on the wheel of Eklund, she just couldn't get over her. She was in the perfect position and she was kicking at the right time, and she did everything perfect, but Eklund was just too strong in the final sprint.
Yeah, 100%. Now, as we do see, Daniela's playing it very smart. Maybe going to be her week this week. We'll have to wait and see if she can do well over the punchy climbs. Speaking of the punchy climbs, though, the men are just jumping into it here. We're looking at 40th place with Lopez here. Let's see who's taking over toward the front, though, of this race. Lersveen here now making a move. It looks like 7.3 watts per kilogram. Now at the front, though, it looks like it's going to be one of the Vikings riders here. Bergen here looking to go off the front, it looks like, at the front. And now taking over also Evoke now is there, one of the newer esports team that was recently launched, and it's going to be Pantelier here coming from Evoke looking to go as well. Now Bergen here from the Vikings here following up. Now Ollie Jones, though, is there in third wheel now. Kurtzmer there, he's been almost unstoppable. I think pretty much unstoppable week after week. Going so fast, he's getting the cones here and there. Now Ollie Jones, though, Kurtzmer there. Fleeman is going. Now, I did not notice that Dan Fleeman was in here. This is a rider who knows how to dig deep, as you can see by the team name next to him there. And I wouldn't count Fleeman out. I think a lot of these riders here not going to be going quite as hard as Bergen, as we can see him hammer away over the top past past the Scotty the Squirrel statue there. But 2 seconds now, not going to maybe pay off too much to go quite that hard. And a lot of these riders who maybe have a little bit left in the tank are just going to allow the main pack to roll on up to the rest of the riders. You know, that break that Bergen has here, not sure it's going to pay off as these speeds are going to go very high in just a moment.
I agree totally. I think either he just falls back now or he just try to get over 23rd Street and then go back to the peloton. We also see our Argentinian friend Messineo, which we always see in the front of the pack, but we haven't seen him do anything in the sprint so far. So he probably has to go solo on the last lap if he wants to do something. Another rider I noticed was the Danish champion from last year, Søren Bay from Team Fusion. That's also really, really strong on the climb. So I would expect him to try something on the final lap as well.
Yeah, I'd be watching out for him 100%. Always a rider to be checking out for, as he's got quite the kick. And one of those riders that does have a little bit more of a drag race that you do need. You do need kind of this longer, drawn-out situation because of the reality of Governor Street. It isn't just a quick kick to the line. You have to make it over the top of the climb. Now here we go over 23rd Street. It's going to be Boniface now leading things out. Pantelier going again with him. Kops is there. Fleeman, as we said, who to be watching out for. And we can see in the chat as well that he is one of the favorites as people are calling him out. Kirchmer, though, it looks like, is able to follow. We were saying that he was one to watch out for. And wait a second, is Kirchmer off the back a little bit here? I'm looking through, and it looks like he may have been caught out a little bit, maybe just playing it smart, though. Zimmerman, Kirchmer, all together, a little bit strung out. 1 second back to Phil here from DBR now. Nayer's there. Simmons, this is a dangerous section to be in here, as you can see the riders trying to jump back on. This is that gap there that's set up by that DBR rider. Bang there now. For Sorensen here, it looks like trying to get back on terms. Will they continue to speed up ahead? It looks like they're just going to close this down. But if they continue doing this kind of move, they're going to find themselves out the back, like as you can see with Stevie Young here, as well as Bertelsen, Falk, and Wally. This group is going to have quite a hard time over the top of Governor Street. This kind of break in the pack usually does not come back with that many riders off the front. Jerks is here from Callis, as you can see here, trying to get back on turns. He's going to have to climb like in the 7 watts per kilogram to bring this back, because I think some of the riders toward the front are not going to let up because they see some of the heavier hitters falling off at this point now.
Yeah, they're gonna keep going over the final climb here, and we already see pretty much half the peloton is off the back already, just from the first lap. So I expect even more fireworks on the final lap, and we see all the experienced guys stay in front, and that's why I think they just go hard. They just go in the orange numbers over 23rd Street just to be safe, because as you see, it gets so much strung out that you never know if you're gonna get caught out in the back.
Yeah, and it completely strung out over the top of 23rd. 23rd is definitely the most dangerous section, I believe, out on course here for the riders here. And it looks like they are trying to stay as attentive as they can to that. But the reality is sometimes there's just nothing left in the legs. And as you can see toward the front here, how that has put some damage as well into the amount of waters that they can throw down. This section of the course, definitely a place where if you're hurting, you're just kind of looking for a wheel to try and hang on. And if you know you have anything left at this point, this is when you really want to turn the screws, because the reality is that on the other side of this climb, there is no downhill. That's what makes this section of the course so incredibly difficult, is that usually when you climb like this, 8% grading or something like this, as you can see, Ollie Jones taking full advantage, along with Dan Fleeman here. Pantelier going with as well. Soren Bay, one of the riders you had called out there from Fusion ECT, looking to close this down. This is the sections that you can really put the hurt on, because now, after climbing that hard, if you are able to keep the speed and the power up, any rider that is with you has to match at least, I would say, about 75% of the effort that you're putting out here. And a lot of these riders are just be looking for any wheel that they can grab. Look at this. Simons here from Evoke here. 189 beats per minute currently. Absolutely doing everything he can. Now, the ladies are just coming over the top of Libby Hill here. We definitely want to stick with them and make sure we catch every one of the moves that they are making. We do see Vicky Nealon. She led things out over the top, as you can see here. 3.4 watts per kilogram coming from her. White Law now, 3.9, looking to jump back on on terms. Canyon looks to have made it over the top with a few riders at this point, but Grobler from Revo now 6 seconds back. She's going to have to do everything she can to get back on terms. Roseland's here as well, coming out of Norway. It's going to be Jennifer Reel here from Fearless, almost back on terms here. 1 second is the gap. Gonna be everything you got, though. You got to make sure you're in that wheel. The rest on the downhill, because 23rd Street will destroy you if you're up in that 182 still as you head through this downhill, Alex.
Yeah, you pretty much have to be straight on the wheel after Libby Hill, because if you spend all your energy getting back onto the back of the peloton, then you're going to hit 23rd Street with maximum heart rate, and then you're going to explode. So it's just all about sticking to the wheel, because even 2 seconds, you know how hard it is to close those gaps, especially on Swift. So and like you said on Governor's Hill, that after they pass the finish line, there's no downhill, so there's no recovery. It just keeps going. So you don't want to lose even 2 seconds to the front of the pack.
We did see Eklund kicking to 8 watts per kilogram for just a second there. Daniela now taking over toward the front, may be the rider to watch out for a wild card today. She's been in the lead breakaways for weeks now, but unable to get across the line in that first place, take a win. But it's going to be Daniela, 6.2 watts per kilogram, leading things out now. Vicky Nealon, though, a rider that we've been looking to try and maybe win week in, week out here, but has been able to lead the series momentarily. But now Vicky Whitelaw from Heino following very closely here. It's going to be Eklund there, Canyon, Hubach is still in there, Hansen, all the Heino actually ladies have made it over the top. It looks like a Canyon now still in there with Buchholz and Falk, but they have lost a few of the other riders here from Canyon. It's only going to be those, is it Buchholz, Falk, as well as Eklund. So 3 riders versus 3 riders here. Heino with 3 riders. Whitelaw, it looks like, along with Hansen. And it's going to be Hubach, all in there from Heino, up against the 3 riders there from Canyon. So 3v3 here in the situation with a lot of other ladies mixed in. Interesting to see how this is playing out amongst them here. I do believe a lot of these ladies are streaming, especially the Canyon team do have some stream setups. Make sure to head on over to twitch.tv and do a search on Zwift. If you did that right now under the games on twitch.tv and you search under the games category for Zwift, or just search Zwift in the top bar, and you click on that little icon, you'll actually probably find maybe 10 to 15 streams during some of these higher end broadcasts and races, as a lot of these riders are building up their followership. Make sure to go hit those follow buttons over there. It's a huge effort actually to stream Zwift, as there's a lot more setup than just setting up a video game, setting up OBS, and pushing out the stream, as you've got a bike, you've got all kinds of stuff to do. So they put in a huge effort to do so. It's awesome to see it. Hubach, though, this is the counter. We said Governor Street was a spot here. I think, Alex, this might be a move. We saw these 2 breakaway before. Vicky Whitelaw and Hubach, you let them go. Maybe even 3 Heinos. This might be a race that's just a team time trial.
Yeah, and you see Heino has put together a really strong women's team. Like the level has just been growing exponentially the last couple of races. But yeah, Hubach, she's been proven very, very strong. She won some races, some big races last year. So I'm going to look out for her. But she's just trying to put the pressure on, because she may not be the best sprinter. So she want to just keep the pressure on. And she gets 2 of her teammates in this break. So they're going to work together. This is a really dangerous breakaway.
Huge breakaway here. Now, as far as the current series standings here with 5 races, Cecilia Hansen is at 129 points right now. Hansen is currently sitting in 3rd wheel here amongst the Heino girls, and look at this. 3 racers all together now. Vicky Nealon, she is currently sitting 2nd overall in the series right now with 110 points, following the wheels, but she's got to stick with it right now. She's got to grab back on the wheels here of this Heino team, because these 3, they get away, and they're going to work so well together now. Hubach now, Danish national champion, 6 watts per kilogram, and they may also be taking over the top spots here. If she grabs another 30 points, this could be a podium sweep for these riders here. Vicky Whitelaw is currently 76 points. Hubach there, 66 points. And Cecilia Hansen, your series leader. They're all within the top 10 right now of the series, and they have broken the rest of the pack here. But they've got a hard-charging pack. Well, actually, they kind of splintered it. They've made everybody go nuclear here.
Exactly. They're the biggest group. They're pretty much the peloton now. So we see Nealon with Daniela. They're going to have to work together if they want to get back up. then there's like 20 seconds to the next group, and then 40 seconds to the German champion Buchholz. So this is a serious breakaway, and it seems like Kubak is almost too strong for even her own teammates. Like she could probably go alone from here, but I think she's just gonna ease off the gas and work together here on the flat, and then they can race it out on the final lap.
We are looking at the third group out on course. This is containing the UK national champion Bradbury along with the Canyon Rider Falk. The Canyon Rider here, Falk, the strongest amongst the Canyon ladies, it looks like here, able to make the third group. Buchholz, the German national champion here, just a little ways back, but she's out here in a solo TT at this point. Going to be looking for a wheel to work with here. 177 beats per minute, absolutely trying to hammer, but 65 RPM, it looks like maybe fading a little bit, grinding as best she can, but the Heino team just too strong.
Look at this.
I mean, look, it's like
time trial.
right? I mean, it is such a
Yeah.
well-oiled machine here. You'd almost think that they've done this, and they probably have in some of the WTRL time trials. You know, this looks like a serious professional esports team at this point amongst the ladies. They're showing why they are the strongest right now. Team Heino, for the ladies' side of things, walking away with this one. They've got 6 seconds, though. Daniela here, she is not throwing in. Revo on the hunt, and she wants these wheels back here, but up into 176 here, dropping Neelan, actually. Second overall, BRT from the Brat Pack. The Brat Pack needs to get some attitude in the wheels now and some power in the pedals because Revo is closing the gap. 4 seconds now, and this is a huge effort coming from Daniela.
Yeah, it's actually, I was about to say she has to work together with Neelan, but maybe this is the smart move just to get it closed as fast as possible before Team Heino they get too big of a gap. So if she can close it now, then she can just sit on, and because she's all alone and there are 3 riders, so they have to work. She can just sit on, and then she just has to watch out for especially Haubach on the final 3 climbs.
Yeah, now you can see here, this was a very smart move, I think, actually coming from Daniela, because she knew this little uphill grind was coming, and you did not want too much of a gap between them. Now, before you got to this section here, Neelan, it's just maybe a little bit too much to close down, and it was the perfect timing to grab onto a wheel. Daniela, a very cagey rider, very tactical, as you can see there, and I think she saw the reality that the Heino riders could only hold that pace for so long, that they were looking to open up that gap as much as they possibly could, but eventually you can't be at VO2 max. I mean, they were up into 5 to 6 watts per kilogram for a duration of almost 5 minutes, it looked like, for quite a while there, and they had to back off eventually, get back into a tempo, and I think Daniela noticed that and really dug deep to jump back in with this group here. Neelan, it looks like, maybe off the back permanently here, unless Heino stops working together because of this extra rider.
6 seconds is quite a lot. She still has the chance to do it, but she just have to go down and find a pace that she can hold, because it's either that or sprint up to them right now. We saw how strong Neelan was at the last Heino Cup. She was pretty much the strongest on the climb, so I was quite surprised that they were able to drop her here.
Yeah, very hard pace here set by Heino, and very tactical. 6 seconds, it looks like hardly anything still within sight, but it can be an eternity to close down. Back in with the men's race, as we just saw some amazing action with the ladies there. They were putting on an awesome show here for us, and they've got a little less than a lap to go to the finish here. Interesting to see within the men's race here, the break that did take place, some big names that have not made this front group. You can see just how hard they've been going amongst the men here. Oftedal from Team Callis here. Kayland as well from Team Callis has been following. Fogley. So 3 of the Callis riders here all off the back here at this point, and that is a serious esports team that's been unable to make it here. And Keelam is in here as well, coming out of Canada. Be watching out to see if these riders can try and close things down. But with 57 seconds here, Stevie Young from Canyon is in there, Hansen from DBR. I mean, what a crazy! I mean, even the national champion is this Phillips is even in here.
Even Alex West is in there. That was my pick for today, so I'm not happy with this. I want him to get back, but it just goes to show how hard Richmond course actually is. It's underrated because you kind of feel it's flat, but it's really not. And I can just, like, we saw that at the actual World Championships when Sagan won. We saw how hard he was able to go over 23rd Street. So I'm gonna be looking out for somebody to try to repeat what Sagan did and go from 23rd Street and then all the way to the finish here on the final lap.
It's a very difficult move to make. The downhill on the other side can be extremely, extremely difficult to hang on to the gap. But if they are able to go with the speed and get enough of a gap, I mean, we've got to see a sprint, though, the kind of numbers. Because a lot of these riders can throw down 10 watts per kilogram over the top. 10, even 11 watts per kilogram over the top of 23rd Street. We're going to have to see a kick into the likes of 13 to 15, I think, to really get the kind of distance that we're going to need, and they're going to have to do it for a solid 10 seconds or more and then hold at around 10 or 11, I think, to get a gap over this kind of quality of a group. Amongst them, obviously, Kirchner, we've seen that kind of a kick from him before. I'd watch out for Boniface for that. Zimmerman as well. Zimmerman might not have the kind of TT effort on the other side, but he's got the kick, I think, and he's a lighter rider that has a kick that might be able to go with that kind of a move. I'm predicting 3 to 5 riders over the top of 23rd, but then a battle over the top of Governor Street. But they're going to have to be willing to work together on the other side. Another one, Messineo, very light rider that has a kick. Another one that might not have the TT or the ruler type effort we're looking for here. A lot of firepower in here. Again, I think 3 to 5 maybe. It'd be really cool if there was a solo break, though.
It would be. And I just think there's no team that's really dominating today, which is kind of cool. It opens up the race because even Team Canyon is split in half. I can only see 1 or 2 in the front. So the last couple of races, Team Canyon were there with like 4 or 5 guys. So they were able to kind of control and bring things back together. But here it's going to be every man for themselves when we hit the final 3 climbs.
Yeah, exactly. And according to as far as why it's gotten to this point in the race and this kind of numbers that we've seen from this, and again, an attack on the front here. It's interesting to see. I think that's Larson there from DBR giving another little kick, making things fun here. But as far as the kicks that we've seen so far for the watts per kilogram today on the averages here, interesting to see. What this flatter section of the course does is that it really is about the kicks, and this goes to show it's not always about just very high averages. A lot of times we talk about how high of an average you've had to put out just to hang on to the race, but it's not always about that because this, as you were saying, this course is so incredibly difficult, but it's just those 3 kicks really that they have to hang on through. The averages are actually quite lower than we've seen maybe on the Sand and Sequoias or that we've seen on the Innsbruck course or that we've seen on those courses tend to have a little bit higher averages because of this upfront flatter section. The highest watts per kilogram on average we're seeing 4.4, 4.3. A lot of the riders that are in this front group are under 4 watts per kilogram. They've been sitting in, so interesting to see that a little bit lower. Because of the nature of those kicks that they have to put out on course here today. So, but it is still a huge group, about 33 that have made the main pack here as they head towards the second time up and over the top of Libby Hill. Going to be looking forward. All these riders going to be looking forward to that climb. And going to be watching out most likely, I would think, for Kirchner, as they've been absolutely unstoppable so far in this series here. For the Heino Cup so far... Go ahead.
So, I just want to point out that we got a former pro and a former teammate of mine, Martin Mortensen from Team DBR, which is still there. He's not really a sprinter, but he's a really, really strong rider and a good TT rider as well. So I'm going to be looking out for him. He just keeps improving. He's pretty new on Swift, so he learns something every time he races, and he's just going to keep improving, and I think he can be up there in the finals today.
Mortensen, be watching out for Mortensen. You heard it here, everybody. He's the one that is being called out here. Learning things every week. And here is Mortensen on the front there. 139 beats per minute. I mean, pretty chill here on the heart rates. 136 from Evenson. Schmidt here, Peterson there. We're looking David PLCC. No heart rate actually coming from him. So going to have difficulty getting a result without that heart rate on there. But 147. All the riders in the men's group, as you can see, fairly chill at the heart rates right now. They're definitely holding hands, getting into that peloton, like calm down, wait for the attacks, as we were seeing just a moment ago. They're going to be taking a left-hand turn in just a moment. Well, the road is going to veer left here, and then we're going to see the fireworks open up here. Let's hear it, chat. Who do you think is going to take the win in the men's race. We had a couple of predictions out there, and Dig Deep Coaching, Fleeman here, he was one of the ones I said I'd be watching out for. We've seen him on some serious sufferfests, actually, out on the Fusion, actually, the last season of the Fusion races. And that was out on the London course, actually, over at the opposite side of Box Hill. Absolutely amazing efforts here I've seen from Dan Fleeman. And actually, I'm gonna put a little bit of a risk out and say, Dan Fleeman, before we hit Libby Hill, before I get any more information, Dig Deep Coaching, I'm gonna throw it out and say this is gonna be the man that's gonna make it happen here. As it looked like he was sitting in the right wheels, like he was controlling the race well and was not risking too much. I don't think he was in any trouble, actually. I think he was just looking not to risk too much over the tops of those climbs. So Fleeman for the win here.
I just want to expand on what you were saying about the low average wattage on Richmond. What's make this Richmond really difficult is the 3 really steep climbs that coming in a row. So it's like really punchy stuff, like maybe Flanders, but you just got these 3 climbs right in a row, which makes it hard. So even if you can kick once or twice, you're still gonna be at maximum heart rate, and then you have to be able to go over Governor Street and up to the time.
Mortensen, as you were saying here, and that's a great point, actually.
Yeah.
Now, this is a crazy kick actually going into Libby. He's got a 1 second gap immediately. He just pushed 10 watts per kilogram here. Will he suffer for that, though, is going to be the question here. Alex West looking to chase this down here as they hit the cobble section. 10% gradient. Now 9 watts per kilogram here. West looking to chase this down, but the DBR rider, he's still got the gap here. He's holding steady now. 8.6, now 600 watts still. The heart rate still rising. 178 beats per minute here. Panther from Evoke here looking to close it down. Around the corner there, he's actually opening the gap up still. 9 watts per kilogram coming from him. Schmidt now, 9.7. They were waiting for this moment, I think, for a second kick. He's going to have the fastest time, I think, over the top, but the question is, will he be able to hold on? The entire pack is still together. Maybe he was waiting to see if it was going to split here. Boniface is dragging the pack up to him, it looks like, at this point. Was anybody dropped off is going to be the question as we look back. M-Bang here now looks like Brummer here as well. Larson from DBR unable to hang on. Kirchmer's in trouble, no? Is he just playing it smart is going to be the question. I think he's in a little bit of trouble, though.
Yeah, he seems to be really far behind, but he's just experienced, so he knows how to hang on. And yeah, it looks like he got over pretty safe. But it's going to be another kick in like 30 seconds from now on. So just about getting the heart rate down, take some deep breath, and then be ready for 23rd Street.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Boniface here, now, as you can see, does have a gap that might matter a little bit. 3 seconds, 4 seconds here. The riders behind, they're going to be resting up here. He's already onto the flat section now. The question is, can Boniface go again? He's gone very early. To have a gap like this early, before you actually even hit this climb at 6 watts per kilogram, can he hold on? 11% grading. We're seeing 8 watts per kilogram. Brandland here now looking to go. Now it's going to be Boniface here. 11 watts per kilogram. Look at the speed! Oh, my goodness. They just come by Boniface like he was standing still on the front. It's going to be Hodges going with them, but Pantelier also from Evo. Cops is going, it looks like, from Heino. It looks like Pantelier and Cops, they've got the gap here. Igor is going along with Pantelier from the new Evo bike team here out of the US of A. They got a 2-second gap here, but can they hold on? You said this may be the section to make it happen. They look to be trying to hold on, but the fade is happening here now. It looks like who's falling off pace? Fleeman's toward the back, it looks like. Holt Boniface now just was almost shot at the back because of that attempt to hang on. That speed was insane snowballing coming from the pack there.
That was insane going over 23rd Street. Now we see them coming back. We see Kirchmeier still in the back, so he's just gonna play it cool. He has won all the every single one of Heino Cup so far, so he can afford to play it cool and just wait for Governor Street, and then I'm sure we're gonna see him again because he's always there. Even though you think he's in trouble, he's gonna be there at the end.
I have a feeling you're right there. That was interesting to see that he was able to come back so quickly. Very, very in control of the race, it looks like. Jay Smith, we will jump in with the ladies in just a moment. We want to catch every last moment of this men's race here. As the ladies here, real quickly, before we do hit Governor Street, it is still the breakaway situation here with Vicky Whitelaw, Daniela Hansen, and Hubach. 9 seconds. Vicky Nealon, I mean, just trying to claw her way back. Absolute suffering, man. And if she can jump back into this pack, huge kudos to her. But back in with the men. They're about to hit the Governor's Street climb, and then we'll get in with the finish with the ladies here, as it is going to be Fitzpatrick now looking to take over toward the front, along with Brandlin there coming from Team SZ. Now a kick very early here, actually, coming from Peterson now. And this is perhaps the break that he's looking to make happen at the bottom of the climb, but nope, not going to be going much of anywhere just yet, as it's going to be Fitzpatrick coming over the top here. Evenson going now as well. Ollie Jones, Canyon, they have not been able to take too many wins. They've been right there over and over again, but have not able to grab a W yet in this series. Ollie Jones, 8.3 watts per kilogram coming from the man out of New Zealand now, 176 beats per minute. Kirschmer following closely now. Dig Deep coaching with Dan Fleeman. My prediction, he's making his way to the front. Will he be able to make it happen, though, at 178 beats per minute, 500 watts now, 6% green. Let's take a quick look at where the left-hand turn. It's going to be a sprint finish, actually. They're all still together, and there will be some tactics. We usually don't see this on this course here with so much firepower, though. You can see how much drafting matters now. Copps, Jones, Pantelier still, they're all in the front now. Will somebody kick early? I think they're going to start looking at each other, though. Here it goes, though. Now Pantelier, 7.5, 192 beats per minute. This is going to be about the drag race now. It's Kirchmer, though, sitting in at 4.3 and playing it smart. That's the rider we need to watch out for. The current series leader. Who's going to kick first is going to be the question. Ollie Jones starts to go. Boniface kicks at 14 watts per kilogram from about 300 out. Will he be able to get the gap, though? Copps is hanging on here at this point. Brandlin's looking to go. Brandlin, I think, is going to be your man here. Whoa! 18 watts per kilogram. Kirchmer looking to come across. Alex, what's going to happen? It looks like it's going to be Kirchmer at the line. And Kirchmer at the line by the wheel length. Oh, my goodness. Brandlin tried to make it happen, but we have to take a look at the replay, perhaps. I mean, it was right to the line there, and we'll jump back in with this in a second. I mean, Kirchmer, like, just waited perfect timely. Brandlin kicked, but unable to hang on. Now back in with the ladies, though, here. That was insane, but now we're back in with the front end of the race here, the Heino. Go ahead, Alex.
She's going now. Now, Haubach, she's going. She's kicking really early, and I think she can do. I think she can go solo from here. Obviously, she has two teammates, so it's all up to Daniela if she want to close it down. Cecilia Hansen and Whitelaw, they can pretty much just sit and wait. And she has proven she was the strongest. Like she almost had to wait for them on the last lap over Governor Street. She was so strong. Like she pretty much split the pellets on the first time around.
Now looking through here, this reality of the situation with Hubach off the front. Hansen allowed this to go, I think, mainly because she gets enough points still with the way the point structure works to hold on to the overall. And this gives Hubach a good kick, I think, in the overall for the point structure here at this point. As well, you know, Vicky Whitelaw's in there as well. You know, all of them looking to perhaps get into the top spots here in this series and go 1, 2, 3 perhaps for the series here. So as I look at the current situation for the points, Cecilia Hansen, who's off the back here, but you know, she will still grab a minimum of 27 points as long as they're not caught by Neelan out here. So with Hubach out the front, that's going to give her 30 points. Hubach's currently sitting, it looks like, in, I believe, about 8th place right now. So with that that current position, I think with an extra 30 points, she'll be jumping up to 96 points total. Now, she's going to still have her work cut out for her, though, up against the likes of Falk. Kirsten Falk out there for Canyon. She's sitting in 3rd place overall in the series right now. She's still going to grab somewhere in the 20s here. And with 95 points, you know, it's going to be a hard-fought battle here for Louise Hubach. You know, we've only got 2 races to go, I believe it is, after this race. She's going to have some serious efforts here, and Hubach's going to have to win a few more races and perhaps catch Falk and a few of the others that are between her and that podium out to try and sweep this series for Heino.
Yeah, obviously, I know she has 2 teammates behind her, but look at 26 seconds within like 30 seconds of attacking. So that just goes to show how strong she is. So even if she didn't have the teammates behind her, I'm sure she could break away solo here. And it should also be said that it's a bit easier when the peloton is already split up going solo, like we saw with the men's peloton that nobody could get away because there's such a big pack, and they just keep going over each other, and that keeps the speed so high. So a lot easier to break away when it's already broken up and the peloton is quite small.
Look at this, though. Interesting to see. 7 watts per kilogram here coming from Hansen. Maybe closing things down. This goes to show how important 23rd Street is with those orange numbers. As Whitelaw now is going, it looks like 9 watts per kilogram almost. Look at the speed
See her
through
backing
this
off.
section. Oh, my goodness. And it looks like Daniela, though, is getting a little bit of a ride here. Now, this is not actually a free ride whatsoever, though, as she's got to put down the effort over that gradient there. She's leading things out, actually, here. Hansen and Whitelaw maybe just following the wheels a little bit. Hubach now opening up again at 3.5 watts per kilogram, and it looks like that is going to be consistent as the riders behind look to get a little bit of a rest, back off 180 beats per minute, as you can see here. I mean, they put so much into the pedals here at this point. They're just looking for some energy back. You can only do so much.
You saw Cecilia Hansen backing off a little bit because she was pretty much dragging Daniela up to Haubach. So I'm sure they are talking on Discord and communicating, and she just said just back off a little bit so we don't bring Daniela back into the mix for the win today.
Yep, and it looks like that's exactly what is going on here. So it's going to be Hansen, Whitelaw playing a little bit of cat and mouse. Once they knew that Hubach is away, I think that's when we're going to start seeing the jumps. If it gets within 5 seconds, it might get a little bit tricky. You know, because if the jumps start happening too early within that 5 second range, and they still have 300 or 400 meters to go, they could shut Hubach down, who's going to be at her limit at this TT off the front.
Yeah, and Daniela, she just has to sit and just wait for the other two girls to attack and then try to go with them. So if Cecilia kicks too early, like you said, she could bring it back. So she has to. It's a hard situation because she probably has the legs to try and attack and go for the second place, but she don't want to do it too early. I would almost wait to the top of Governor Street and then on false flat up to the finish line, just try to kick it early.
Yeah, it's great. That would be the plan. It looks like now. Look, I mean, Hubach is so strong. Backs off for just a little while to 3.3. Now back in to 5.2 watts per kilogram. As you can see, has 180 beats per minute here. Daniela now seeing that they're about to hit Governor Street here now, and now 6% gradient here. This is the final climb to the top. 12 seconds is all it is, though. If she can really start to turn the screws at the front here and put a little bit of pain into the legs of the other riders, this is, I mean, there's nothing to lose here really at this point on this climb. Break the riders behind you, close the gap down. Hopefully the riders that are behind you will sprint a little bit on you a little bit. You could grab a wheel and maybe close things down. It's still only 10 seconds here. This is doable if she's got another half a watt per kilogram or so. I mean, that's not a small ask. A half a watt per kilogram at this kind of an effort is a huge ask.
No, yeah, but no matter what happens, I'm just gonna say kudos to Daniela for catching back the team time trial of Team Heino when they went. That she was able to bring back 6 seconds. That was amazing to see. That you don't see that very often when 3 girls are away, especially when it's from the same team and they're all working together.
Yeah, Daniela, definitely, I would say, one of the heroes of the day here to try and shut things down. It's going to be interesting to see if she can disrupt this podium. That's going to be the question, I think, at this point. Hubach now 4.4 watts per kilogram, 7 seconds up here at this point. Still within sight, just barely, but it's going to be a little bit too much, I believe, here. Whitelaw looking to break Daniela, though, at this point, 6 watts per kilogram. Hansen following very quickly here. Interesting to see. A little bit of battle between the Heino ladies now. It looks like Daniela may be fading. She's lost the wheel now. She jumps back on, though. It looks like Hubach, though, it looks like it's going to be our winner no matter what here, Alex. She's within the last 500 meters.
Yeah, great to see Danish champion on the top step of the podium today. And if really lucky, they get 3 girls. They get 3 national champion and 3 girls from Team Heino on the podium today. But let's see if Daniela, she can outmaneuver the 2 other girls from Heino.
Yeah, as you can see here, Hubach going across 184 beats per minute. No joke, that's for sure. Hansen's going very early here. Swedish national champion with the Australian national champion trying to follow. Daniela's caught out, it looks like there. Just not quite the response time that she was going to need. It's a battle between teammates here at this point, and it's going to be Hansen over Whitelaw with Daniela taking 4th here across the line. Solid efforts there all around, though, between the ladies. Huge efforts here. Let's go ahead and take a look behind. Let's see if we can grab some of the ladies coming in to the finish line still, though, behind here at this point, as I believe believe we still have a few more. As it does look like, I believe, Neelan just coming across the line here. She's going to be coming through for 5th place. Solid result there for her. We'll wait for the rest of the ladies to populate in just a moment. But real quickly here, let's take a quick look how things played out amongst the men here in the sprint situation, well, that's not exactly the sprint situation we were looking for here. As we've got Neelan here coming across the line. We'll grab the replay here in just a second, and here it is. This is the situation. It was Brandlin that led things out, as you can see, absolutely demolishing the sprint, but Kirchmer just barely slipping by at the last moment here. Looks like Messineo, we talked about him maybe being one to watch out for. And Messineo hasn't had too many results as of lately. Interesting to see that Messineo perhaps back on form, as that was a pretty amazing kick there at the end for him.
It was incredible. But also let's give kudos to Brandon for doing a sprint with 18 watts per kilogram. Great to see him. And I think I made a mistake. I think I thought Alex, he was dropped, but Alex West was also up there. He was just a little bit further behind. And then obviously Ollie Jones always up there and top on the 3rd step of the podium. So it was really interesting to see the final and some strong names in the top. And let's give shout out to Peterson, the best placed Danish guy of Heino Cup today.
Yeah, I'm looking through here at the results for the men's side of things. These are preliminary, but I am seeing Kirchmer did take it. It looks like by 2/100ths of a second over Brandlin, who led things out. But then it was Ollie Jones, so it was not Messineo. Messineo came by Jones after the line there. The difference between those two, it looks like, was 1/100th of a second, actually. So Jones and Leandro Messineo there. Canyon able to jump on the podium. Kirchmer been unstoppable. Brett Boniface, even after that very early attack over Libby Hill, Team ODZ jumping in there, but he's about 1 second back from Kirchmer for 5th place. So that's your top 5. Stephen Kirchmer, Samuel Brandlin, Ollie Jones, Leandro Messineo, and then Brett Boniface. Jess Schmidt-Peterson out there, and then Soren Bay for 7th place. Alex West coming through in your prediction there for 8th place, so still in the top 10 there. My prediction, Dan Fleeman, at least in the top 10 with the 10th place, just ahead of him, Lundqvist from SZ. Fleeman, got to dig a little deeper there with the coaching. Come on now. What's going on? Your other man, Martin Morenson there, 11th place actually. So it looks like learning a little bit. Even that was a crazy attack from Morenson over the top of Libby Hill.
Yeah, for sure that hurt him in the end. But like I said, he's not a sprinter. He's a former pro, so he has some endurance. So I think that's what he's going to try. He's just going to try to see if he can get away with some of the stronger guys and maybe get a top 10 or even a top 5 in the next race. So I like the way he's racing, and it also makes it exciting to watch that there's some guys that are brave enough to try to go solo.
Yeah, for sure. Now, we do have on Zwift Live in just a little bit here, everybody, a points race. It's a Zwift beta race that's going to be going down. That's going to be in about 25 minutes from now over on Zwift Live. I'm going to go through the women's results, though, here real quickly. And it's 1, 2, 3, Heino. Louise Hubach takes 1st place, followed up by Cecilia Hansen, Vicky Whitelaw then. All 3 national champions, they're showing why they've got that there, Alex.
Exactly. That's cool to see 3 nationals on the podium, and it just goes to show that the level of the Swift ladies keeps growing, and I think I would probably say it's the strongest community race at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. We got a Alex with a green screen here in the lower right hand corner. we're gonna have to update the background there for him.
We have to put something on the back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to put something on the back there. But good to see we got the green screen in there as well. But Alex, amazing job out here. Real quick through the rest of it. Straight into Daniela. She was probably one of the more aggressive riders on the day. Vicky Neelan really hammered it out there for her TT to the finish there. And then Kristen Falk there coming through. Rosamund Bradbury, the UK national champion, Emily hang on, but was able to come through, it looks like, for 7th place. I believe Tina Grobler, Polly Mason, and then Buchholz, the German national champion, was the next one.
Yeah, and Neelan, she pretty much did a solo TT the whole final last lap. That was incredible to see. She just couldn't close those last 5 seconds, and so she had to go the whole lap alone, which he managed. But I wish he could have caught back up, because you could have kind of mixed it up. Then Danielle and Neelan could do something with Team Heino that was so dominating today.
Yeah, Heino absolutely dominated, and that's why maybe showing up for their race specifically. Alex, thanks a lot for your time today, and we will see you soon for some more commentary here out on Zwift Community Live.
It's been a pleasure. See you.
Yep, cheers. And that's going to be it for us for our coverage of the Heino Cup today here on Zwift Community Live. Make sure to head on over to Zwift Live for the next race, for the points race. I did see some questions come on through on the Twitch as well as YouTube and Facebook. And as far as those questions goes, will there be other test labs? What other races are going to be happening? Don't count anything out, you guys. Here on ZCL, we can do more events that ZCL puts on. That is totally fine. We just want to make sure that we are doing everything with the development as things get developed and as the new things come along. There's a lot of moving parts that need to be paid attention to so we don't step on everybody's feet, including the communities. We pay a lot of attention to what the community is doing here at Zwift Community Live to make sure that we're not interrupting anything and just broadcasting over, stepping on people's events and anything like that. So we're paying a lot of attention and just making sure that everything fits well so everybody's got a good rhythm of racing and a good rhythm of broadcast to watch. Thanks everybody for tuning in, though. I really appreciate everybody out there that's been racing today. We absolutely love commentating on your efforts and how well everybody's doing and gaining fitness gains, and it's absolutely awesome to watch as always. I'll be live commentating in just a few minutes over on Zwift Live, so make sure to head on over there. And as always, everybody, ride on.